We want to find the derivative of 3y equals x cubed plus cosine of y. And since y would be difficult to solve for explicitly in this equation, what we're going to want to use is implicit differentiation, which means we're thinking of y as an implicit function of x. So anytime we take the derivative of a y, we're doing a chain rule, and we have to multiply by the derivative of y. So the left-hand side is 3y. So its derivative is 3. The derivative of y is 1 times, now by chain rule, the derivative of y, which is dy dx, or y prime. Some kind of notation that shows we're taking the derivative of y with respect to x. The derivative of x cubed is just our regular 3x squared, because this already is written as a function of x. You know, we could take the derivative of the inside, which is x, but it would just be 1, so we don't need to write it. Plus, now we're going to do the derivative of cosine of y. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. We leave the inside alone, and then we multiply by the derivative of the inside. The derivative of y, as we were just saying, is dy dx. So now we need to get this organized. So we have 3 dy dx equals 3x squared minus sine of y times dy dx. And our goal is to solve for dy dx. So we want to get the two terms with dy dx on the same side. So we'll add sine of y times dy dx to both sides. And what that does is it gets rid of the dy dx on this side. And more importantly, on the left-hand side, we have 3 dy dx plus sine of y dy dx equals 3x squared. So now on the left-hand side, I can factor out the dy dx, essentially turning 2 of them into 1. Very common technique when you have to solve. You'll see it a lot when you're doing implicit differentiation. Last step is to divide by 3 plus sine of y. There may be a little bit of thought of canceling those 3's, but there's no 3 on the sine of y, so we cannot cancel them. It's not a product. So we now have our dy dx solved explicitly. It is in terms of x and y. That'll happen a lot with implicit differentiation. But it's 3x squared over 3 plus sine of y.